My name is Brian Takumi. I'm the VP of Product Creative here at Oakley, and thanks for joining us today to talk about Chapter 2 of the origins of Oakley and becoming a sports performance eyewear brand. So back in the day, as Jim was selling his motorcycle parts, starting to sell Oakley as a brand, one of the things that happens out here, if you have ever been to Southern California, you know that as you're driving at sunset, the sun will always be setting directly off to your side. The glare will come in 90 degrees directly into your peripheral vision. So as Jim was driving one day and realized how much glare was coming in from the side, he started to think about how come there isn't a piece of eyewear that has the same coverage of the goggles he was making. He went back to his office, took a goggle lens, cut out a smaller profile, found a coat hanger, and from that moment on, the sports performance eyewear market was developed. Eye shade had the coverage of the goggle, but you could wear it like a sunglass to protect you without having to wear a goggle strap on your head. When you start to think about the eye shade, though, it really was a piece of equipment. And for the brand to grow, he started to think about how do you expand upon that and make something that's a little more wearable on an everyday basis, but wasn't as much a piece of equipment. And the blades were born. It has all the product features and performance levels that came in eye shade, but worked in a much more lifestyle package. Tommy Carroll, who was one of our surfers at the time, took a pair of blades, said they were too big for his face, took them to the sidewalk and ground down the lens, and sent it back to Oakley, and basically razor blades were born. Everyone asks, how did Jim come up with the trigger ear stem shape that was on blades? It really was this concept of form follows function, and it was very much driven by the functionality of our optics, not just purely as an aesthetic play. One of the other things that Jim wanted to do with it is allow for the customization. He wanted this to be an expression of one's individuality. When you start to think about different colors you can make, customizing it so much so that he made an earpiece kit for it. But really what this did was create a whole identity of our custom program, and what Jim was offering, you could create almost 23 million combinations of what you could do with our multiple colorways and blades and razor blades. Jim was never one to settle with what he already had. So when you start to think about cylindrical lenses and what he could do to make them optically correct, our Mumbos were born. And instead of it curving around your ears, it actually touched on the back of your ear, on the side of your head, and on your nose, creating what was three-point fit for us at the time. This was really the beginning of the rise of straight ear stems for Oakley. On top of that, with the XYZ optics that he was developing, now all of a sudden you had taken the optically correct tapered lens he was doing in cylindrical and taken it to a whole new level by putting curvature on all three axes. So really this was an evolution to take the sports performance eyewear market to a whole new level by working in much more dimensional shapes than just what he had been doing in razor blades and eye shades. Thanks for joining us today for Chapter 2 on the origins of Oakley and getting a glimpse into how we built the foundation in sports performance eyewear.